Okay, we will get started in a moment. All right, so we want to scrape job titles out of this for building synonym list. Um, all right, so let's think through this. What information do we have here? What information do we need? I know this company. It's pretty cool. Clutch Technologies. It's affiliated with one of my old employers. If you have $12,000 to burn a month on your vehicle, it's a good program. All right, well, let's start playing around. So the issue that we're going to run into is that this is a on scroll load and we want to grab all of these elements. We cannot do the server side because you have to be logged in to be able to view jobs, and I don't feel like messing with that. Um, but it looks like there's an element indicator here of when the load is done. So we could maybe automate that portion of it. How many jobs are there right now? Ooh, that's a lot of jobs. And then how many elements are there on the initial load and subsequent loads? Promoted listing. Hmm. Wait, what? Hmm. Hmm. What if we log out? trying to find a consistent class name for just the jobs. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that easy. Browse startups table row. Oh, yeah, there we go. Looks like it loads 10 at a time. Cool. That now the question is, uh, it's yep. Hmm. Let's see what this is looks like. And it's not scrolled down. Hmm. All right. I don't know if that's going to be the best approach. It's weird that they only have this as. Okay. All right, let's just write the scraper. We'll figure out the scroll stuff in a little bit. I don't have the patience for that crap right now. All right. So we're going to assign it to variable jobs. Let's loop through that. So we will give it a variable to start with I, and while that I is less than jobs length, amount of job elements, do this stuff for every one. Iterate current variable plus one. Could also be written as I equals I plus. So inclined. All right. Jobs. All the index number, starting with the first one. And let's see what's in here. It's a table. Let's go up to the first one. Or second one, since that one's a promo. Maybe it has some weird stuff in it. All right, so we've got to go down in this quite a bit. A tagline. Company name. All right. Elements by class name. Remember, this stuff is case sensitive. Everything is actually case sensitive. We want to grab that first. It should be the only in the inner text. So, and then let's log it. Let's see what we have. Console, log, company. Boom, there we go. All right. So it's showing is promoted. We don't want that. Let's go ahead and write a cleaner, I guess, function. I'm hoping we'll need more than just this, or this is overkill, but better to do this as a function. It'll just be easier to read for us. So we'll pick string, let's return string, and now we're just going to replace loaded. Do I spell it correctly? Nothing. I'm doing it globally. That's not really necessary, actually. So let me take that out. And there's a space in front of it that I don't want. So this is one space. This is one or more spaces. Currently, this is case sensitive. We'll leave it as such. Okay. Now, we will just wrap this in that function. And realize that it didn't paste correctly because Apple decided to release an inferior product this past couple of years and not do anything about it. Fuck you, Apple. go. All right, now let's grab the tagline. That's all right, very good. Um, so when I'm doing stuff like this and I'm sending stuff to Sheets, I like to, oh, well, I'm not sending it to Sheets in this case, which makes it actually even more important. I like to make sure I'm just taking out any commas because I need commas to be only when I'm separating values for this ultimately the CSV that we're going to output here. So most of the time I'll just convert it to a semicolon. I think that's what we'll do here. So let's add this. Replace I'll do that globally. Semicolon. The reason we're not just throwing it in here as an or statement could, and promoted would be replaced with that semicolon as well. So up in here is we'll replace promoted, then we'll replace all the commas, semicolon. Um, yeah, that should work. Then it's our function name. Around, throw it in, and let's see. There's our semicolon instead of comma. Good. All right. Now we want to see the job titles that are in here, and it looks like they're variable. There could be more than one, which means we need to do another loop. Under the job listings class name. First. List equals jobs I class name. Yeah. And we want the child or children of that collapsed listing row. Okay. Sorry if you hear my dog snoring. Dog, that's what they do. Last name. Oh, they don't have any jobs posted, which I don't know why they would be in the listing. But if they don't, that'll give us an error. So we'll see. And let's just see how many are in each one. Oh, crap. All right. Okay, we're not purchasing a class name here. So we'll remove that U. Yep. Okay. So there's only, okay, so that's each job number. Interesting. Cool. But this should work. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, all right. So that's interesting to note too. I don't know if we'd really want to do anything with that number to note how many jobs they have posted, but it's interesting to think about. That might be something relevant that we want to capture. All right. Excuse me. Tired. I didn't sleep. Now, um, we're using J instead of I here because we already used I. Probably should be something else. But I'm going to. Length of that, I want to, I don't know, create an array, I guess. Of jobs. Hmm. Probably should have thought through how we want to do this. So we're really just after the job titles, but I feel like we should be getting all the other information too, since we're going through the trouble. Um, yeah, I mean, we can edit this later if we need to. Go ahead and do it. Do it all. All right. R. So we created an empty array there, and we're going to push each one of these jobs titles into it. Um, job list. Okay. And let's go get the class name for the title, collapse the title. We will comp as well. All right, I think we're going to end up doing a JSON object here instead of a CSV because we're doing this for data science purposes anyway, and JSON will be easier to play with. But that makes me need to rethink what I'm doing here. All right, let's just keep going for now. It's, next. And then let's log on each one. Okay. Oops. That semicolon goes there. Job list is not defined. Because it's case sensitive. Okay. This failed. That's probably what I was wondering about if there's no jobs listed at the company. Hmm. I'm not seeing anyone. Uh-oh. What's this? Hmm. All right. Well, let's just write a function that'll check against that for now. I don't know what's going on, but valid. So we'll take an element and if that element not defined. Turn element. Otherwise, return an empty string. I'm pretty sure I did this wrong. Let's do it this way. It's a bit. Uh, so what I really need to do is forgetting that that command key doesn't work anymore, or sporadically. All right, and now let's give it a number. So if length is greater than or equal to the number we pass through, turn that next. Son of a. I use this method all the time, but my brain is not working today. So I'm going to be stumbling around quite a bit here. Not equal to what? Null? I mean, it shouldn't be null. It should just be. Wait. False? Yeah. Nope. I had to call the index number. But why is it? Uh-huh. Here was our culprit. Senior backend engineer, Node.js. Let's look this up and see where this came from. And 3 more. Uh-huh. Oh no. We have to click through them. I'm not going to do that. That's a drag. How many are like that, I guess, is a better question. Looks like just that one. Lots of all of these have like dangling strings here. Let's clean that up. We'll use the trim function. I got rid of that white space. It'll do it on either end. So if this is going to be JSON data, we also need to make sure we remove any quotes from the entirety of this stuff, as that will ruin our JSON code or object. I haven't really decided that yet, so we'll wait. I'm still not sure whether or not I'm going to do this as a CSV or JSON object. So let's just keep moving along here. Let's see. Let's call it whatever they're calling it. Comp. Okay, that needs to go up. Why would somebody want to go work for a startup without any equity? All of the insecurity and none of the upside? You could say I worked at a startup if that's something you care about, but if it is, just start your own. All right. Job title, comp. So I think what I'm going to do here is let's just keep doing these. But I'm thinking I will end up just maybe commenting out a lot of this stuff and just grab the jobs and locations for now, or maybe just the jobs. But I don't have anything to do for the next 3 hours, so we'll see. I mean, I don't have anything else I feel like doing anyway. Kind of difficult to read. Break these up into functions. Yeah. I'm not sure what I want to do. So. Okay, something to note here. If you do this, say location, it's really going to mess you up because for whatever reason, it gets picked up as a JavaScript function, which is location, meaning the URL. And when you execute that, it'll open up a new tab, break your code. I don't know why it does that. It seems like it shouldn't, but it does. So when you're doing locations, name it something like geo. Save yourself some headaches. I blah blah get elements. Let's name something is there. Inner text and This promo is a little different, but let's see what it is. Tag locations tooltip. It's missing on the promo. What is it here? It's under collapse tags. All right, well, we'll just throw that through our validator function. That's why we need it. And I'm leaving the comma stuff for now too, because again, I don't know what I'm doing here. Do we care about the size of the company? I don't. Seems like that's not really a relevant thing for what we're doing. And those ranges are so arbitrary. Ripped straight from, yeah. All right. I don't like any of this. So we are going to comment out this block and just grab the titles. I'm just saving this off to the side somewhere. All right. That way I don't lose it. And let's just pull out all this stuff that we don't really even need to think about right now. Take the comp out, I'm not messing with that. And raise this up outside of even this loop and just throw them all into the same array. And this list. Oh, job bar. All right. There's all our titles. Now, Junior Gopher, what the hell is that? Oh yeah, that was the well, now I'm curious what that job is. Ugh, I gotta fill out that. Just tell me what the job is. I'll tell you if I want to fill it out. Okay, so we really need to write this a different way. Looks like we need to go in and grab this stuff. I'll be back. I need a drink. Okay. Let's rethink what we're doing here. We just wasted a good, I don't know, however long I've been streaming. It's a wrong approach. And also, I don't know what we're really going to do with this information because, you know, what people title things is really arbitrary. And there's so many synonyms in terms of like if we're looking at skill sets that I don't know if I really think that you can do much with it, but let's pull it anyway. So we first need to go through essentially and click every single one of these things. So let's see if we can do that. Hey, sorry, my dog's decided he wants to jump up on my lap. You're not a lap dog, dude. Sorry. All right. Let's see what happens when we click the header info. Taco, stop. Nice. Okay. Well, let's try doing that. Get rid of these functions for now. In my way. Get rid of this too. That. Jobs. Whatever iteration that is. Click. Cool. Now we've opened that all up. Very good. Scroll this down too. It unclicks. Let's see what the, let's write a condition around that. See what happens. Okay. Collapsed. Okay. Here we go. Hang on, I gotta put my dog up. All right. Initialize true. Doesn't change. Expanded. Not expanded. Expanded. What's that class under? Might be called the parent, the child. Okay. Let's try getting the attribute calling class. Oh, cool. So yeah, we can use a regex to see if it's currently expanded. That way, if for whatever reason there's some weird issues going on, we'll make sure that it's always expanded. Loading 20,000 jobs like that is probably going to make most of your systems crash, though. I might be okay. We'll see. If username, write this regular expression. So we'll say expanded. That's this. We're going to look at that string. We're going to call the test function in JavaScript that essentially is just going to tell us if this is true or false. If it's false, then we would like to click it. Jobs. Click. Now all of these should be open until we load more down here. Yeah. They are until we load more. And then when we click it again, or run that again, all the ones on top should still stay open, which they are. And all these down here will have been opened up. All right, very good. Is Calendly still calling themselves a startup? The end. All right, so jobs. 2 here. So I think maybe we can say this is going to be our indicator of what kind of job it is. So we'll say this is our job title. And these are our descriptors. We'll probably end up removing that. Yeah. All right, let's look at it this way. Inspect. Oh yeah, this is much better. I like this. Oh, well, just keep in mind that we'll need to run this as a promise. So let's just go ahead and do that. So let me make this function, call it expander. And then we'll put through jobs. Let's just retitle this. I know we don't even need to do that because it's global variable. Just keep that what it was. If you're not familiar with promises, which you're probably not, go look it up. JavaScript is asynchronous, which means your code runs all at once. It's a race condition essentially. So if we were to write this all out and grab this data, we'd call these elements while we're clicking them, and we can't guarantee that the click is going to happen before we call the elements. So we need to call the elements as one function. Then we need to do the other function. So with a promise, we can say do this, expand these, and then do something else. Create that promise, we just create some new variable, some new promise, resolve that promise, some arrow function because cool. Close out that function, resolve, expand. So need this argument. So we'll say expand, then okay. Now let's create another for loop. Let's copy what we have here. You don't have to rename the variables because the scope is within this function. So we can keep that I the same, all this stuff the same if we wanted to, except for we don't need any of that. So it's worth noting, like kind of messy when I'm writing stuff, and so I'll oftentimes just go to JSFiddle and have it clean up my code for me. Tidy. And then I can just throw it back into what I was doing and it looks a little bit better. All right. Elements by class name. I believe it was called title. And remember there's multiples in these, so we need to assign this to a variable. Title list. And for j equals 0, j off balls. Next. And just go ahead and log it, see if this is working before we get too much further down the road. Call this T. And what did that do? I don't know if anybody knows Calendly, but this guy used to cold call back in the early days. They're a pretty cool group of people. let's see what's going on here. Let's find one with more than one title. There we go. Inspect. Title. Title. Okay, so this, I guess, failed for some other reason. Let's put our validator back in. Wait. Oh. Interesting. Yeah. What? Okay. Just being lazy. We need to be a little bit more specific in what we're calling here. So let's call details row first. Okay. Let's get a little more real estate here. And I'm going to take out this stuff that we're not presently using just for clarity. All right. Saying the first one and then stopping. Oh, oh, I, not J. Yeah, okay. Let me fix this right now. J looks too much like I. Call this T. Call this title. E. 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 Put that back. This should be the problem. There we go. Much better. All right. Go back. Okay. Now we have our titles. Let's grab the details around that title. This spec tags. Wait. Okay. Okay, we might as well grab the comp. Make sure that works since we're kind of cheating. Yeah. So what I did there was like, I'm assuming all of these or most of them will have comp, and even if they don't, we're running through this valid function, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just looping through this same iterator that we're using for the title list on the comp list, and then we can do the same thing by copying that again. Our tag list. And cheating a little more. Have whatever you're calling. Oh yeah, tags. Wait. Yeah, okay, it's still a chunk. We need to make sure that it's a child of this, or we won't get what we're looking for, but it is. All right, tags. Okay, and tag list. T tags. Oops. Double that. good. So I want to pull out this information, right? Like, 'cause I don't think that I need to know if it's full time or not. Don't need the location because I don't care about it. Maybe I do. But okay, remote. It's gonna mess us up in the United States. How many? So we have regular expression for this. And mode okay. Cities. My first thought is to do something really complex, which would be to go grab this location, and then create a regular expression using this location to look for that here and delete it. But some of these have multiple locations, so I don't know how well that would work. Let's look. Yes. It says remote okay, remote United States. So you know that we always want to remove remote okay in the United States. Atlanta, Savannah. Surely, oh, here we go. Yeah, so in this situation, I guess it's say Atlanta, Sydney. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can do it that way. Let's do it. Why not, right? That's good practice for regular expressions. All right. Oh, no. Oh, cool. I was worried that that ellipsis meant that it wasn't loaded, but it is. Very good. All right. It's under the main element. Should be fun. All right. On each loop that we're running through of the jobs, we'll get the geop saying jobs, iteration, elements by class name. Should be the one and only inner text. Let me just console log that. Let's see. Have. Oh, and I probably should run this through the validator, right? Yeah, let's do it. I know at least one does not have a location because I saw it give us a blink a minute ago. Yeah. there's not actually any inner text in that. That's why we got a bunch of empty junk. This is the one we want, which I should have known because that's the one we called earlier. Here, in case you didn't catch that. Oh my god, this keyboard is so whack. So it looks like this is under the span element, but it's not. There's nothing there. This is actually sitting under this element. And ooh, like this, it's a lot cleaner. I wonder if that holds true for all of them. Probably does. Then we can call it by this attribute. That's my dog telling me he wants me to give him attention. Cool. So then what we can do with all this is create a regular expression for each one of these by calling a comma separation, I suppose. Actually, no, we could do it even cleaner by Regex101.com. We could just grab the comma and space and place it with or, then use that as our string for regex. That'd be super simple. Let's do that. So now we'll say regex geo equals new regex and so geo place comma and a space with probably an or. Let's log that to see if it worked. Oops. Yeah. Cool. New York City. I'm wondering if city is always included. Yeah, it is. Cool. Looks like it's just grabbing it from there, just like we are. So that works pretty well. All right, now what we'll do is on each iteration, right, we will get the tags, right, and then we'll replace those tags wait, hang on, I'll make this global. If we don't make it global, it'll just get the first one and chop it. But we want to make sure it gets all of them because we have the source statement. Okay, so now this might work. I don't know. Let's see if it works. And undefined, undefined. Okay, why would that? Oh, did we not replace it with anything? Of course, that's why. But it is working, very good. All right, and now we know we also want to remove full time, right? So And I guess the right way to do that would just be to go up here and put it in here. So we could say, so essentially what we're doing here is we're passing a string into this regex creator. This function creates regular expressions, right? Instead of just doing them like this. So we can add any number of strings in here. Say full time, space, forever. Go ahead and get rid of this. Let me think about that one. Let's do it just like this for now. Yeah, actually, I don't. This is going to get a little bit messy because we can't necessarily always know that there is going to be a geo, and then it's left with a hanging or statement, which will just I don't like that. So let's just replace this. Grab this little bullet. That as well. Yes. See what this gives us. Okay, let's finish the replacer. Getting closer. Should be somewhere remote. Oh, okay, remote. Okay. Oh, this will be a good example of how things happen, right? So we want to say full-time okay or full-time, right? But let's start by not full-time, remote okay. Wait a minute. And we want to say remote okay or remote. If we put remote first, it'll get rid of that, and then it wouldn't catch remote okay. So we'll say remote okay, and we'll say remote. And let's grab this little bullet, get rid of it. Cool. Yeah, we want to get rid of the United States as well. That we can throw up here, I think, safely. No, I don't like that. Let's do it here. Some of these for testing, right? We need to get rid of all these bullets at the front of them. But we don't necessarily want to get rid of all of them. So we need those to separate them. Oh. And that's good enough. We don't need a ton of them. We just need a couple test scenarios. Okay. So we want to find the start of the string. So we'll use the caret. Let's go make sure we're in JavaScript here. And then we find any space character, right? Find another bullet, space character, and another bullet. actually really just want any non-word character, right? So I can just say this. Boom. That's much easier. So down in here, any non-character. So anything that's not a number or a letter, we're capturing. And we're going to get rid of that at the beginning of the string. Okay. Finally. And crap, that doesn't necessarily execute in order. So let's add one more replace function. There we go. All clean. Except for this. And I know what happened. Okay. Let's pull this out. We just want to make sure that it executes after these execute. All right, why is it still doing that? Okay. All right, well, we'll do this. This is really not a smart way to go about doing this, but whatever, I don't care. All right. It looks good. We got rid of all the stuff we didn't need. That was a fun little regex exercise. Right. Now what do? We have our title, we have our comp, we have our tags for each one of these. I guess now let's turn this into an array. Definitely some words in here we don't need, right? Like when it's describing some of the more specifics about the employer work rather than the role. Like, where was it? I saw one of them. I guess there's not a lot. I mean, time management. I don't think that's inherent to that job. I mean, any more than any other job. Why is there not space there? What is this? Software engineer. Oh, so we need to make sure that we're starting the top of the string because we removed the spaces on that. What? Okay. Yeah, we removed the space there. We don't want to do that. And hang on 1 second. I'm going to tell my dog to chill. All right, I'll be right back. My dog needs to go for a walk. Be back in 5. And we're back. All right. So we're nearing the initial grab here. I'll have to think through how we kind of do any kind of analysis on this. My dog's looking at me like I'm talking to him. All right, so got all this. Let's add one more replace function. To the end of this, and we'll grab any space 0 or more. Actually, no, it's definitely going to be 1 or more. 0 or more is something else that we may not want to mess with. So we'll replace. It's not a comma, it's this bullet point. Replace that globally with quote, comma, and then end quote to the end of it, as well as the front of it. All right. And then let's create a container for this tagger. An empty array here. And then on every iteration, oh crap. On every iteration in the container, we will push in the tags and some other stuff as well. So we want, let's make this, what do you think? CSV or JSON? CSV or JSON? I'm going to go with JSON. So let's create a pseudo JSON here. We're going to call the first thing a title, obviously. And then we'll sneak in this title string that we grabbed. And then that's the end of that object, right? And then a comma for the next object, which will be comp. Okay. And then close that off. Comp. Same thing with tags. The tags is going to be an array, right? So we don't need to start with a quote. We start with opening up an array and the tags, which are already all parsed up for us into a pseudo array. Pseudo meaning kind of pretend. Then we'll close it off, right? And then finally, we want to close out the object curly brackets. Push that in there. And that might be it, right? Let's see. Tagger. Cool. Yeah. There we go. And then we want to push that actually into another array that we'll bring up here, which will be our main container. So let's be super creative and call it main container. R. Push that in. Boom, there we go. There's our JSON object. What's this? Okay. I didn't think about that. So we don't, yeah, actually, let's just go down one, right? So we'll take, instead of doing the main container, let's just move this up, right? Because we're not grabbing the company information, right? Like we decided against, or I decided against that for arbitrary reasons that I'm going to stick to. So we're adding that in there, and then we can just call this down at the end. Hopefully that made sense, right? So what we're, instead of pushing this in and then ending up with this multi-dimensional array that we don't need because we're not calling any other information, right? I decided that I didn't want to get this other stuff, at least not right now. If someone wants otherwise, let me know. I'll go change it. But for now, I think this makes sense. And then we just get this nice object here. Full of 97. And let's go to JSON lint to validate and see if we have any errors in our. This is JSON as a string, right? Like, and we definitely do have some errors. Oh, but it's actually not actually an error. It's just the way I copied it. No, that wasn't an error anyway. Okay. Let's see what this does. Essentially we had like a stringified JSON object inside of an array. It's not what we needed. Cool, there we go. That's what we need. All right. You guys tell me what you want to do with this. Like, I don't know, we could count how many times like some sort of tag exists underneath a certain type of developer or a certain type of title. I guess. But, well, we're not really done, right? This just got us to 63. We need to figure out how to get all of these, and so we don't have to go through each like area that we're after, because we're looking to do an analysis here, not just. All right. And you would need to put in some brackets here around this because that wasn't proper the way it was. So like I added it in here, but if we took this out, it would be a proper object because in a JSON object, you can't have like the same titles over and over again, right? Like if you do, it needs to be an array so that you call it. Otherwise, there's no way to call title. It's like, well, which one? I want the first one if it's an array. If it's not, then I have no idea what I'm looking for. But anyway, this hey, son. Let's throw this in the GitHub so we don't lose it. Git. Yes. Jason. Ooh, we've been sitting here for 2 hours. Nice. Okay, so what do we want to do about figuring out how to load these elements or load all this data? We save that in the README? No, crap. Well, should be way back in here in my logs. Oof. Feel deep. Here we go. Yeah, I don't need this promise stuff right now, right? I mean, I know how to write promise. Blocked by client. Doesn't look like it's blocked to me. Let's go ahead and save this in here too. Let's create a new file. And elms. Job elms. Yes. You see me type a B, an A, C, or an X. It's because I forget that my command key doesn't work on the left side. And shame that Apple won't admit that they screwed up here. I didn't hate Windows so much, I might consider buying a different machine next time, but instead I'll probably just build my own Hackintosh. Stop using the laptop. All right, so the way I normally would go through to load these would be to see, all right, how many of these elements are there? 189. I grab that element, and I know that they load 10 at a time, so I'd create a function to say, all right, scroll down, do that, 183 times divided by 0, and seal up on it there so that we get an even number, right? That's probably what I am going to end up doing because that's what I know how to do. But no, how many are there? Yeah, we're talking 235 iterations of that, and can't be for sure that they'll actually load. So we need to like double that essentially. So let's call it 500, and we need to wait like what? It goes pretty quick, but I'm also on gigabit internet right here, and I'm assuming you all are not. Well, if you live in the States anyway, you're probably not. So like we probably should call it like a 2-second wait at least on each one. So 500 times 1,000 divided by, yeah, I mean, it's a minute to load all of that, but I guess we can do it that way. But then how do I know when it's actually done loading is the question. I've got to figure that out first. Let's figure that out. And actually, I don't remember what this is. It's like, bottom, it's like a window. Yeah, there we go. The dangerous thing about like not writing stuff and copying and pasting is you don't really remember it. Like I use this thing all the time, but I never write it because it's so quick to search it out. I never remember what it is to actually write it. So this time, let me write it. Window, scroll to, and 0, what does that mean? I don't even know. Another thing too, when you copy, you don't really know what your code's doing. Ooh, wait, scroll into view. Let's look that up. That might be what we want because we know what the element's called. We just want to scroll up into view, and it does exist. It's just not showing. So if we scrolled until it scrolled into view, meaning it was unhidden, that might give us what we're looking to do. Hang on a second. Taco, what are you doing, man? Okay, he's all right. Scroll into view. So if we call that element and then say scroll into view, all right, let's try that. Get these to load up. I don't remember exactly what it's called. All right. And again, get elements, class name, some name that I don't know right now. I think it's a unique element. While we're doing this, let's talk about get elements. If this is plural, it means there's going to be more than one, right? Get element by ID should be unique. It's not necessarily depending on who's writing it, but it should be unique, right? So yeah, that's why we have to call the number because we're calling the iteration number. But if we had an ID, we wouldn't have to do that, which this doesn't. It has a class name, right? So let's refresh. Let's say that one. Oh, I don't even have to do all that. Why is that not working? I don't know what this is. Let's see what this does. Although I think what really happened there was that it didn't say any kind of function, right? But, yeah. I think we have to call IDs to do that. I think I remember that. Yarg. There's got to be a workaround though. Does that have any kind of... Huh. Is there more than one of those? Must be. What is that? Scrolling up to the top for some reason. All right, let's do some more research. Coordinate to scroll to along the x-axis. Oh, x and y coordinate. Okay. That makes sense. Wait a minute. There's a JavaScript function that'll give me the coordinates of an element. Interesting. So when it's still hidden, it's at the top. That's why it kept moving us up to the top. So they actually change the coordinates of it as well as unhide it. Oh, jerks. All right. Oh. Text. What we had there? Nothing. And notice. Cool. Right. Oh, derp. There's always that. Crap. All right, let's go ahead and write this. We'll figure that out as we go. So this is the number of results we have. Let's see if this is unique class name. It is tool table container table. Right. Okay. And replace all non-digit characters with nothing. And then turn that into an integer instead of a string. Parse. There we go. So we have the number of results. This can get us to the number of iterations we need to make in terms of these scrolls. So let's just call this oops. And then we'll break this up so it's easy to read. All right, our iterations equals results divided by 10. And we'll call it math function math.ceil, which will round up. So we'll do that sometimes, right? And then I don't know. Now that I said don't do this, I'm going to do it. Function take set timeout here, arrow function, timeout, hang on, getting a call. Okay, I'm back. All right. So what we're doing here is we're creating a scroller function that will take a parameter n, which is going to be, it'll be the loop number specifically, but then we'll multiply it by some number like 1.8 seconds, which will wait the proper time before it executes the scroll function again that we want to do, which is So the reason we do this is because if we just set this in a loop itself, oh man, it's kind of complex to explain, but it wouldn't work right. it would essentially add all of them as the same number because of the way loops work. So this allows us to pass it through on each time and run it independently. So I think that's the way it's going to work. We'll see. So then we'll create the for loop. All right. We'll say I equals 0, 0. That's then the number of iterations we want to do. Plus 1, right? Actually, yeah, that's fine. Plus. Then we'll call this function each iteration, and we'll pass through the I, right, and the iteration we're on. And let's also do something here. So we're going to call it n plus 1. We'll jump ahead a little bit, so that because otherwise the first is going to be 0, and it won't wait. Whatever it doesn't need to, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, so whatever. We'll just leave it. It's fine. Let's just even see if this works. Appears to be working pretty well. There it is. We're at the end. It stopped. I really wish there was another way to indicate, though, that we got to the end besides just counting, because what's going to happen here is if the page takes longer to load than we're predicting, which it will, especially if we're talking about 20,000 elements, just not going to be. I haven't looked at this network tab this whole time. I mean, I looked in here the other day when Dennis first suggested this, but I have not looked since then. Yeah. See anything we can do here. Wait a minute. I'm going to be annoyed, actually, if this is what I think it is. Just because I'll have wasted a lot of time. But okay, yeah. This is just metadata. Wonder. Oh yeah, you had to be logged in, so this wouldn't work anyway. And maybe it'll work as a fetch, but I don't think it will. Blocked by client. Typer. Oh, actually. What do we have? Let's take a look at this. Payload information, properties, locations. PT. But if I gave this to Aaron, he'd figure it out. He seems to always know all the API calls. These are one signal preferences. Okay, so this is actually passing in my default preferences, it looks like. Token. Yeah. Interesting. This gives us I wonder. Okay, let's try something real quick. We'll do this quickly. View permissions. I'll trust myself. Try it again. Ooh. Okay, so we could have done this all. Do not have to be authenticated if you call it like this. Interesting. That's cool. Now, does it tell us how many? No, it doesn't. Damn. We knew how many pages there were to go down. Then we could call the first one. That would tell us how many there were. I know there's 63, right? So let me see if I can find that in here. What was it? 63 what? Startups. Just copy this. It sure would be cool if we could do it this way, although I'll have to rewrite everything. Much easier. That's in the long run. Well, how many pages are there? There's at least 6, right? Oh, wait. Always the same group. Yes. Wait. Oh, no, this makes it load all of them? I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't do anything different when I just take a look, see if there's some sort of tab. Let's find promotion. Don't need that. We don't need that. Oh, what do we have here? Okay, that took out the promos. Interesting. Listing IDs. Listing IDs. This is essentially just telling us, oh, okay. So if we knew all the IDs, we could call them all that way. Then how would we figure out what the IDs are? Startup IDs, startup IDs, startup IDs. Startup table. Let's just see if we can call the whole table. Well, we can call it, but it doesn't give us anything. Okay, we'll stop playing with that. It's good to know, though. Maybe might come in handy. What's the difference between these two? Messages last. Oh, what's this? It's not the page you're looking for. Yeah. All right, we're hitting hour 3 here. Let's try to finish this, I guess. All right, let's fill all these, get us to that number, that insane number. See what happens. It's going to run for at least a few minutes. What was that number? 23,000. 23,500. Comment there. Oh crap, it's going to run for 40 minutes. Well, we'll let it run. I think we're done here. So I'm going to let that run. If my system doesn't crash, I'll then execute the code, those 2 scripts we wrote, 1 to expose the elements and 2 to scrape them, and then put that all together. You watch this whole thing. Cool.